Never in a million years did I imagine I'd be standing in the front of a church with someone in the back of the church going like this to me. But hey, great to have you with us this morning. We're starting a little bit different this week, and I'll get to that in just a second. But before we do, a couple of quick announcements. This is what we're going to call Ministry Week at the church. We're going to try and get a lot of jobs done around the church as we think about getting back here. So a lot of tidying up, a lot of cleaning, and we've had a lot of our jobs taken care of, signed up for it, but we'll put some more in the newsletter this week. But if you don't get that newsletter for some reason and you want to help us out, say, hey, I can take a job, I can help, just email me or give me a call. We'd love to have you help do that. Tomorrow morning, we're going to continue our devotional series. We call it Morning Devotions With, because every morning it's been with someone else. We've had a number of different speakers. Tomorrow, we've got a really cool speaker coming. Lachelle's sister, Barb Camp, has been writing a blog, and I got to read a little bit of that this week, and it is super. And we called her up and asked her if she would lead our devotion on Monday, so she's going to join us at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, so I hope that you can join us for a Morning Devotions With. Tonight at 6 p.m., our kids are going to get together on Zoom. They've got a craft project that Sarah and Nick has put together for them. Everyone who signed up for that project got a little bag, a kit. If you didn't sign up, but you want your child to participate, contact Sarah early today so she can give you a list of ingredients that you can go and grab real quick and have those available, all right? Next week, we hope to have our full worship team back together. We hope to have everyone up front leading in worship. I don't know if they'll social distance or not, but we'll encourage them to not stand too close to each other. But we do hope to have the whole worship team back. One of the members of the worship team that would love to be here right now, but can't, but we hope to have back next week is Diane. But Diane is able to join us by the magic of technology. She's at home, she's listening to us right now, and in just a second she's hopefully going to appear as part of this live feed, and she's got a way to start our devotions up. So Diane, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Morning, church. I had something totally different prepared to do this morning, but at the last minute I changed it because I thought the original thing was just a little too adult, and I wanted to include the kids in this message. So the 4 points that I want to work on this morning are: stop stressing, focus on the good in life, always tell the truth, and rely on God to see you through. So stop stressing so much. Here's a little story for the kids. A professor was on stage and she was teaching her students about stress management principles. So she raised a glass of water, and everybody, of course, thought that she was going to ask the age-old question, is the glass half full or half empty? But instead, she asked her students, how heavy is this glass of water that I'm holding? She got answers that ranged from 8 ounces to a couple of pounds. Well, she replied to the students, from my perspective, the weight of this glass really doesn't matter. All it depends on is how long I hold it. If I hold it for a minute or two, well, it's pretty light. If I hold it for an hour, its weight might start to make my arm a little bit sore. If I hold it for an entire day, I will likely cramp up and feel completely numb and paralyzed, and it'll force me to drop the glass to the floor. But in each case, the weight of the glass doesn't change. But the longer I hold it, the heavier it feels. Your stresses and worries in life are very much like this glass of water. If you think about them for a little while, nothing happens. If you think about them for a little bit longer, you begin to ache a little. If you think about them all day long, you'll be completely numb and paralyzed and incapable of doing anything else except to drop them. So let them go and stop stressing. That's the first message. The next one is a little happier. Focus on the things in life that are good. Here's a story for the kids. 2 friends are walking through the desert, and at one stage in their journey, they had an argument. One friend actually slapped the face of the other one. The one who got slapped was hurt, but without saying a word, he went over into the sand and he wrote in it, "Today my best friend slapped me in the face." They kept walking, and finally they found an oasis where they decided to have a wash. The one who had been slapped got stuck in the oasis and he started to drown, but the friend who had slapped him earlier saved his life. When he recovered from the shock, he walked over to a stone and he started chiseling in the stone. Today, My best friend saved my life. The friend who slapped and saved his best friend asked him afterwards, "After I hurt you, you wrote in the sand, and now you write in stone. Why did you do that?" Well, the friend replied, "When somebody hurts us, we should write it down in the sand where winds of forgiveness can erase it away. But when somebody does something good for us, we must engrave it in stone where no wind can ever erase it." So the message is, always remember the goodness that life brings and forget about the bad. The next story is about always telling the truth. It's a little bit scary story of Ananias and Sapphira. They lied to God by saying that the money they had given to the apostles was all the money from the sale of their land. They didn't need to give all the money if they didn't want to. They could have just said that it was part of it, but they lied about it. God doesn't take lying very serious. I mean, God takes lying very seriously. God is a God of truth. Lying is opposite to his nature. It's the nature of Satan. I don't believe God would strike anybody dead if they lied. But what happens is it takes away the peace in your heart if you lie. It's far better to tell the truth and face punishment than to lie and lose our peace with God and lose the trust that our parents or friends have in us. This is something we should think about before we lie. Trust is often broken. When someone lies, we can't believe much of what they say anymore. So make it your choice today and every day to always tell the truth, no matter how much trouble you get in. It's the smart choice. When you lie to others, you just end up lying to yourself. And finally, the last message, a message of hope, really. Rely on God to see you through. We know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him. In this world, we're going to have trouble. Jesus himself said so. Being a Christian is not a guarantee of pain-free living. We can expect to face hardships, but the most important question for each of us is, will that hardship drive me from or more toward God? None of us is great enough, strong enough, or wise enough. We can't control the forces of nature. We can't control the forces of other people because we live in a broken world. But Jesus has come to us as a mighty God, and he has overcome the world. In Hebrews 13:5, he promises us his presence. Never will I leave you, never will I forsake you. And in 2 Corinthians, he promises his all-sustaining grace. My grace is sufficient for you. For my power is made perfect in weakness. In all things, God works for the good of those who love him. But in the face of life's pain and tragedies, our natural question comes up. Does God really mean all things? Well, yes. Notice that it doesn't say that all things are good, but that God can bring good out of all things, even if even the things that Satan intends for evil. When your heart is broken and the world crushes you, may the peace of mighty God sustain you as you draw comfort and strength from him. So this is my prayer for my church today. Thank you, Lord, for being our refuge and our strength, our ever-present help in times of trouble. May your grace and presence sustain us as you work for our good in all situations. In these days of COVID chaos, it's more important than ever to have faith and to trust in God. Believe that he will get us through these difficult times. Faith, family, and friends. I hope you enjoyed this morning's stories, and I hope we'll be together soon. Just a little shout out. I hope Leonard is watching. Leonard, we miss your smile and miss shaking your hand every Sunday morning. So that's it for me this morning, church. We'll see you soon, I hope.